I've had some long days on the water, days where the hours seem to stretch on forever, and the only thing moving is the sun across the sky. But one summer day stands out as the longest of all, a day that tested not just my patience, but my passion for fishing itself. Out on my favorite lake, with my best gear and high spirits, I started at dawn, expecting a quick limit. The air was crisp, the water glassy, and I felt sure that today would be one for the books. But as the sun climbed higher, my live well stayed empty. No bites, no bumps, nothing but silence and the gentle lapping of water against the hull. I cycled through every lure and spot I knew, from shallow coves to deep ledges, changing tactics and colors. But the silence was deafening. It was as if the fish had vanished, leaving me alone with my thoughts. By midday, hope faded into stubbornness. I wasn't going to let the fish win, but I felt defeated. The sun beat down, and every cast felt heavier than the last. Alone on the water, frustration set in. I even found myself talking to the fish, begging for a bite, bargaining with the lake for just one sign of life. It was as if the lake had closed for business, and I was the only one who didn't get the memo. The world felt huge and empty, and I was just a tiny speck drifting in the middle of it all. As the sun dipped, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, I finally packed it in, dragging my spirit back to the ramp, feeling every minute of the day in my bones. The disappointment wasn't just about the empty live well. It felt like I'd lost my connection to the water, like the lake itself had turned its back on me. I questioned everything, my skills, my instincts, even my love for fishing. Was I losing my touch, or was it just one of those days every angler dreads? But little did I know that tough day was about to lead to a breakthrough. Sometimes, the hardest days teach you the most if you're willing to listen. Sometimes, your worst day on the water is just the start of something big. The struggle, the frustration, it all builds toward a lesson on you can't learn any other way. At the boat ramp, as I unloaded my gear, a tiny secret was waiting for me, something I never expected to find after such a long, fruitless day. I just didn't know it yet. Sometimes the answers you're searching for come when you least expect them, hidden in plain sight, and that secret would change everything, reminding me why I keep coming back, no matter how long the day. This wasn't just a one-day slump. It had been weeks of empty casts and growing self-doubt. Spots that always produced were suddenly barren, and my confidence was shot. I'd lie awake, replaying every cast, wondering what I was doing wrong. Was it my retrieve? My lure color? The questions never stopped. Watching others haul in fish while I struggled made it worse. The lake, once my sanctuary, felt like a place of failure. I tried new gear, read old magazines, and asked for advice, but nothing worked. The joy of fishing was slipping away, replaced by frustration and helplessness. Every cast felt heavier, burdened by the fear of another empty day. I was desperate for a solution, anything to break the curse. I was ready to give up. As I loaded my boat in the soft glow of dawn, the world felt quiet and expectant, the lake stretching out before me like a blank canvas. That's when an old man approached, his face lined by years in the sun, eyes twinkling with a wisdom that only comes from a lifetime on the water, and, in his hand, a battered fiberglass rod that looked as though it had seen 1,000 stories. "Tough day out there, son?" he asked, his voice gentle and understanding, as if he'd seen my frustration 100 times before. I nodded, grumbling about the empty lake, feeling the weight of another fruitless morning pressing down on me. He just chuckled, a warm, knowing sound. "Oh, they're in there. They just ain't always hungry for what folks are throwing." He eyed my shiny, perfect crankbait, its colors gleaming in the early light. "That's your problem. It's too perfect, too pretty." I was surprised. Wasn't a realistic lure the goal? I'd always thought the more lifelike, the better. "A big bass won't chase the healthiest minnow. He wants an easy meal," he explained, gesturing out over the water as if he could see the fish lurking below. The old man's advice was simple but profound. Predators target the weak, the wounded, the easy prey. It's nature's way, he said, and it's the same for fish as it is for life. Make your lure look wounded, give it a little stutter, a little wobble, and you'll catch more fish than you know what to do with. It wasn't about a secret spot or magic color, it was about mimicking vulnerability, showing the fish something they couldn't resist. That single idea turned my understanding of fishing upside down. I stood there, replaying his words, realizing how much I'd overlooked. I realized I'd been chasing perfection when what I needed was imperfection. A lure with a story, a little damage, a little character. The old man's wisdom was about to change everything I thought I knew about fishing, and maybe even about life itself. Sometimes, the best advice comes from the most unexpected places, from people you meet by chance, in moments you least expect. I listened closely, soaking in every word, ready to learn something new, eager to try a different approach. This was the moment my luck began to turn, the moment hope crept back in with the rising sun. And it all started with a simple, wounded wobble, a small change that made all the difference. I was hooked on every word as the old man revealed his trick, his eyes sparkling with the thrill of a well-kept secret finally being shared. There was a quiet wisdom in his voice, the kind you only get from decades spent by the water's edge. He reached into his weathered tackle box and pulled out a pair of old needle-nose pliers, their handles worn smooth, and a battered crankbait that looked like it had seen 1,000 casts. "It's all in the line tie," he said, pointing to the tiny metal loop on the lure's nose, a detail so small I'd never given it a second thought. Most folks never tune it, but that's the secret. They just tie on and cast, never realizing what they're missing. A healthy baitfish swims straight. A wounded one flutters, darts, struggles, he explained, his hands mimicking the erratic motion. He showed me how to bend the line tie just a hair to one side, barely enough to notice, but enough to change everything. "Bend it right, it hunts left. Bend it left, it hunts right." "You want it to hunt," he said, grinning as if letting me in on a magician's trick. The goal: make the lure swim erratically, like an injured baitfish, unpredictable and vulnerable, just begging to be attacked. That unpredictable action triggers a base's predatory instinct. "Experiment," he said. "Don't be afraid to play with it until you find the sweet spot. Tiny adjustments make all the difference. Sometimes, just a fraction of a millimeter is enough to turn a slow day into a story you'll tell for years." It was a simple tweak, but it transformed a lifeless lure into an irresistible target, suddenly full of life and energy. I realized I'd been missing this tiny detail my whole life, overlooking the subtle art that separates luck from skill. The genius was in the subtlety, in the almost invisible changes that made all the difference beneath the surface. Suddenly, I saw my tackle box in a whole new light. Every lure a new opportunity, every trip a chance to experiment and learn. I couldn't wait to try it, eager to see if this old trick would turn my next cast into a memory I'd never forget. Here's how you do it, step by step. Grab a pair of needle-nose pliers. Precision matters. Hold your crankbait and find the line tie on the nose. Gently bend it just a fraction to one side, barely enough to see. Too much and the lure will spin out. Too little and nothing changes. Tie it on and make a short cast where you can watch the action. You want the lure to swim straight, then suddenly dart off course and correct itself. If it runs straight, bend a bit more. If it spins, bend it back. Fine-tune until you get that perfect wounded wobble. This tiny adjustment makes your lure look like an easy meal. Suddenly, you have a custom-tuned fish magnet. It's quick, simple, and incredibly effective. Try it once, and you'll never fish the same way again. I thanked the old man, feeling like I'd been handed a treasure map. I didn't even go home. I launched right back onto the lake, chasing the last light. At my old spot, I grabbed the same crankbait, bent the line tie just as he'd shown me, and cast out. My heart pounded as I watched the lure hunt and dart, just like a wounded minnow. The anticipation was electric. Every crank of the reel felt different, like I was finally speaking the fish's language. The lure danced past the stumps, wobbling and hunting. I held my breath, waiting for something to happen. The suspense was almost unbearable. I was no longer just casting. I was telling a story with my lure. The water felt alive again. I believed, for the first time in weeks, that a bite was coming. Sometimes, hope is all you need to change your luck. And that night, hope was back on my side. I was ready for the strike. Then, bam! A violent strike jolted my rod. The fight was pure adrenaline, a beautiful 4-pounder in the boat. I whooped with joy. The trick worked. I cast again, another fish, even bigger. After hours of nothing, it was like a switch had flipped. For 20 minutes, I caught fish on nearly every cast. Same spot, same lure. The only change was that tiny bend. The frustration of the day vanished, replaced by pure joy. I laughed out loud, catching fish after fish as darkness fell. Over a dozen bass in minutes, proof that the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. My confidence soared. I wasn't just lucky, I had a new tool and a new understanding. That simple hack changed my fishing forever. Why does this tiny adjustment work so well? In nature, predators seek easy prey. They want a high reward for little effort. A healthy baitfish swims straight, but a wounded one flutters and darts unpredictably. That erratic action is a neon sign for bass. Easy meal here. When you tune your lure to hunt, you mimic a struggling baitfish. The base's instincts take over. It can't resist the vulnerable target. Perfect lures can look unnatural, especially in pressured waters. By adding a flaw, you make your lure more realistic and enticing. It's not about tricking the fish, it's about speaking their language. The smallest imperfection can trigger the biggest strikes. This is the science of predator and prey, right at the end of your line. Sometimes imperfection is the ultimate advantage, and that's the real secret. That night, I drove home with a full live well and a full heart. The biggest catch wasn't a fish, it was a lesson in humility and shared wisdom. The old man's simple advice reignited my passion for fishing. He reminded me that there's always more to learn, and often from unexpected places. Fishing is about more than catching. It's about connection, stories, and community. We all have tough days, but sharing what we learn lifts everyone up. So, try this hack next time you're on the water. Take a moment to tune your lure and share your results. Let's build a community of anglers who help each other grow. The memories and wisdom we share last longer than any fish story. Pass it on and keep the spirit of angling alive, because the real reward is in the journey and the friends we make along the way. Tight lines, everybody.